When it comes to Zebec, do I find it to be efficient? Now, what do I mean by this, even though nothing I say is financial advice and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything? Well, what I mean by this is that not too long ago, I was just taking a look at the Zebec site for fun and I was just taking a look at aspects of it. And then I saw that they have over 25 team members. Over 25 team members. It's not that many, which I find pretty surprising in a good way because some other projects out there, the team is very massive. And I'm pretty sure with a team that massive, the overhead is probably going to be very massive as well. Like, I see some projects out there that have a market cap that is not even that massive, right? And the team members are like 100 or something like that. I just find it pretty surprising. That's the way to take a look at it. So I like how Zebec is kind of, I would say, arguably prioritizing efficiency in that sense, because if something is over kind of done, I would say, if there's just way too many, I guess, staff or team members, in which in some cases, some projects might not need that many. For what, right? I mean, those resources sometimes can go towards research, developing something new, or just kind of for basic operations day to day. But when I take a look at Zebec, despite not necessarily having such a small market cap, I mean, again, ZBCN current market cap is around that 260 million range. Even still, despite that, they have over 25 team members, which in reality, I don't think is actually that many in the grand scheme of things. So when it comes to that, I do like what I'm seeing there because some other projects out there, I feel like they're not really able to survive in the long term because of the very high overhead, right? And personally for me, I do not know the overhead when it comes to a project like, for instance, Cadena. But what I do know is that not too long ago, Cadena announced that when it comes to the Cadena organization, it was going to be ceasing operations. What was going on there? I mean, who knows? But then at the same time, if let's say a project out there, they don't have that many team members and they're just prioritizing efficiency, I think arguably it's going to be a little bit better to kind of stick around during times when the market isn't doing the best. So I do like what I'm seeing there when it comes to Zebec. Keep in mind, Zebec, one of their early backers is something called Circle, the creator of USDC. And still, even despite that, they don't have a team that is that massive in my perspective. So this is why I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to Zebec. So overall, I do like seeing that aspect. I feel like they're prioritizing kind of the resources for more partnerships, probably, right? Or more developments, or let's say acquiring something like, for instance, they acquired, previous things in the past. Like, for instance, we take a look at Gate Knox and also in the case of Science Card UK. So I like how they're allocating things to kind of more so aspects that could actually improve the fundamentals instead of just, again, just having a very big team, but then in some cases it's not really being, I would say, put towards really the project, but just for the sake of having a lot of team members. And yeah, I just kind of feel like sometimes a project out there that I've seen in some cases, they kind of have a lot of sort of confidence in saying, oh yeah, we have over 100 team members, oh, we have over 200. But what are they really doing, especially if the project hasn't really done much historically? That I don't think sometimes really matters too much. It may sound cool initially, but as the project goes on, I think sometimes if there's nothing really going on with the project, what is really the benefit of having such a massive amount of team members? That's the way to take a look at it. So overall, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to something like Zebec, because even Solana Venture is one of the early backers. I'm pretty sure if they wanted a big team, they could probably just ask Circle or Solana Ventures or something like that and be like, oh, we really need it for this or that. Maybe they might budge and just be like, okay, yeah, sure. But then I feel like, who knows, right? Have they done that? I don't know, but I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if they haven't really done that too much because I feel like it's a type of project that's more so prioritizing the efficiency and not really just the cool factor, right? And I get it, sometimes the cool factor could do pretty okay during this space, right? Or should I say projects that have that cool factor, we've seen them do pretty okay. But at the same time, Zebec is more so a utility driven project, right? It's not a project that's kind of driven off of the, kind of cool factor. So I just like what they're doing when it comes to that. Not to say that some other projects out there don't have such a kind of, I would say, not that many team members, but at the same time, I do like seeing that when it comes to Zebec. Not too long ago, they were announcing that they're going to be talking about this major partnership that they're going to be announcing soon and all this. I'll have to wait and see when it comes to that, but so far, Zebec has a track record of kind of making these sort of anticipatory, I would say, posts where people are kind of anticipating this and that. And so far, they've done kind of pretty okay in terms of living up to that sort of thing that they want to announce. Some other projects out there, they say, we're going to be launching this at this time. And then when it relaunches, it's like, really? It's just that? But then in this case, Zebec really hasn't had that track record, so I'm still looking forward to that. Now, granted, though, with the market cap currently approaching what it was back in July, basically, at around that $215 million market cap range, because as of right now, it's trending downwards, and the market cap is around $260 million. Even still, despite that, if let's say it goes back to the July levels, will this partnership make something happen for ZBCN? I don't think not much really, actually. It might do something. I mean, who knows, right? But I feel like there's probably going to be a ceiling to that, especially if there's no altcoin season and especially if the altcoin space isn't doing the best. So with that being said, though, some people may argue, okay, that might not be the best timing. Well, I mean, yeah, compared to the price, maybe, but in terms of the project's kind of development moving forward, I don't think it's such bad timing, actually, in the grand scheme of things, as long as, again, the project is at least still doing something. The timing sometimes doesn't really matter too much if the goal is for, I think, longevity. This is my perspective. So yeah, sure, 10 cents is now around a 34x from here. It's not like it's really done much, and again, it's kind of trending downwards. But at the same time as well, my point of view is that if I didn't mind looking at ZBCN and just kind of believing in it back in July, if it just went back to those levels again, would I necessarily complain? I don't think I would, actually, even though, of course, not doing the best, but I'm saying I wouldn't necessarily complain in my perspective if it just went back to a level in which I didn't mind anyways to begin with. You know, I didn't even mind dollar cost averaging into ZBCN back when the market cap was around 70 million. So, yeah, that's the way to take a look at it. If it ever even goes back there for whatever reason, I'm not saying it will, but who knows, right? In a hypothetical, if it did, I'll just dollar cost average again because I didn't even mind back then. And actually, when the market cap of ZBCN was around 500 million, I was like, oh wow, can't believe it was around 70 million at one point. So now that it's having a pullback, I wouldn't necessarily complain if I'm able to dollar cost average when the price isn't necessarily doing the best. Now, do I want the prices to be quote unquote low forever? No. But for the kind of short to medium term, it's not anything I would necessarily complain about in my perspective, especially considering how my intention is to dollar cost average. Now, if my intention is to exit, then of course it's a different case. But I am still dollar cost averaging into ZBCN. And I'm just waiting and seeing because, again, I like how they kind of are prioritizing more of an efficient use of their team, I would say. Again, not just having such a large amount of staff and a large amount of team members. I feel like it's a little bit more intentional, right, in terms of the hiring, in terms of kind of the purpose. It's not some other projects out there that just kind of want to say they have a big team, but then they don't really kind of do anything with it in some cases. So I like this when it comes to ZBCN. It's kind of like having an intentional wardrobe, right? Sure, having 100 different t-shirts is cool, but if I only use 10 t-shirts, what's the point of owning 100? That's my perspective. So it's just being a little bit more intentional and not just being kind of, oh yeah, I have 100 t-shirts, but what am I really doing with it if I'm just only using 10? 90 are just basically collecting dust at that point, right? So again, I just like projects out there that prioritize efficiency, which is why I just wanted to talk about this nonetheless, because I haven't seen anyone talk about this aspect when it comes to Zebec. So yeah, I just felt like talking about it real quick. However, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.